Hohem recently released their new iSteady M6 smartphone gimbal with AI magnetic tracking due to its AI vision sensor, and it's controlled completely by using gestures. The sensor also acts as a fill light, which is really useful. And the tracking works really well because it means that you don't have to necessarily use the proprietary app that you would normally have to that comes with a gimbal. So you can use any smartphone app that you like. So if you have a specific one that you use, then you can continue to use it and you can still make full use of the gimbal.
The vision sensor is great. There aren't any cables, so you don't have to worry about plugging it in or anything like that. It's magnetic and you can have it facing in either direction. So if you want it facing you, if you were filming yourself, or you want it facing out the other way if you're filming other stuff. And the light is actually pretty bright. In order to turn the light on, all you have to do is hit the button on the wheel, on the gimbal, and then you can use the wheel to adjust the brightness of it as well. But in terms of the actual tracking, I thought the tracking worked really, really well. I was going behind the trees, around the bench, I went behind my camera, and even though it lost me for a couple of seconds, as soon as I came back into view, it did pick me back up quite quickly, and the tracking is really smooth, and I just thought it just worked really well considering it is just via this whole vision sensor. So yeah, really impressed with that. So the gimbal also comes with this little remote as well, which is handy if you are further away and you want to keep using the gimbal. But it's quite small, but there are a couple of loops on the corner. So if you want to attach a lanyard or something, I'd suggest you do that in case you lose it.
So with the gimbal, you're going to get about 18 hours of battery life, but if you're using the AI tracking and you're also using the light at full brightness, for example, then you're going to get about 6 to 8 hours of battery life from the gimbal. And the gimbal only takes 3 hours to charge, so that's pretty decent. So in terms of the build quality, it feels solid, it feels really well made. The scroll wheel feels really smooth, as does the joystick, and the trigger button is really responsive, as are the buttons. And with the trigger button, if you tap it 4 times, it's going to place it into an ultra-wide shooting mode, so that it means that it's completely unobstructed when you're using that wide-angle lens on your phone. In terms of the payload, it can take up to 400 grams, so if you want to use filters or lenses with your smartphone, or if you just have a really large smartphone as well and you're putting lenses and filters on top of it, then it means that it's going to handle that weight no problem. And I film with my iPhone 14 Pro Max and freewell filters or moment filters and lenses, and I've had absolutely no issues with the payload. So just being able to attach those external accessories just gives it that bit of an advantage over other smartphone gimbals that are out there. As a 3-axis stabilised gimbal, in terms of stabilisation, the footage that comes from the phone is really smooth, and that's down to the iSteady 7.0 stabilisation. So even though mobile phones do well with electronic stabilisation, they're very good these days, so you don't necessarily need to have a gimbal, but when you do use a gimbal, you're going to get that extra smoothness, especially when you're shooting in low light or if you want to use ND filters. And if you also like to use anamorphic lenses, then having a gimbal is a complete must because it's going to get rid of that really wobbly jello effect that you get if you're shooting handheld with an anamorphic lens. And again, if you just want to use an ND filter because you want to get that really natural looking motion blur with the 180-degree shutter rule, then again, using a gimbal is going to be really, really crucial because otherwise your stabilization in your camera is just not going to work and your footage is just going to look really shaky. So Hohem currently have 3 kits available. The kit that I have has the gimbal itself, it's got the magnetic fill light with the AI vision sensor, a mini tripod, a USB-C charging cable, a USB-C to USB-C charging cable, a small remote and a carry case. And in the basic kit you don't get the remote, but in the other kit you do get the remote and also a large tripod. I've dropped a link in the description to the Hohem iSteady M6, and if you use the code Tamara15 then you'll be able to get a 15% discount on the Hohem website, so it's worth checking out. Thanks for watching. If you have any questions then drop them in the comments, and if you found the video useful do give it a thumbs up because it helps the channel, and see you on the next one.